We started this with a line of credit, and coming to where we're at now, the cash flow, everything that's coming in from our properties that we control and we help manage has really, come all together to now that we can actually purchase. And that was always part of our long-term vision, is to get into units that we want to purchase and have that long-term vision of ownership. And that's where we're really excited and where we're really focusing even coming into 2022.
Yeah, and from like a transparent financial picture, so last year in 2020 for that fiscal, our business did around 1.1 million. So a pretty good year. Mm-hmm. In 2021, with the current fiscal that we're in, our run rate right now with our revenues, we're set to do about 2.5 million. So
you're going to double up year over year with the pandemic.
With the pandemic.
Yeah.
Welcome to the VIP Financial Education Channel, where we help you go further, faster financially. I'm today's host, Michael Matthew. Welcome back, guys. We've got some really exciting things to share with you today. We've got our special guests that you guys have seen on the channel here. We're going to go ahead and drop that playlist below for Michael and Katrina Stead. They are our Airbnb Bootcamp experts out of Canada. We don't hold that against you guys. We know most of your business is still down here in the good old United States. So welcome, guys. We've got a lot to chat about today. So I'll go ahead and dive in here. There's nothing hotter out there than investment class. That would be short-term rentals. We continue to bring Michael and Katrina here on the channel because they have proven themselves to be pros. And we've had hundreds of folks come through our channel that have gone through their boot camp, if you will, and are literally becoming millionaires. They're following the process. They're following the blueprint. Michael and Katrina have tons of infrastructure and coaching and training behind them, and they've got some new announcements today as far as funding and financing deals. So that being said, welcome aboard, guys.
Thank you so much for having us back, Michael. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you. We always love coming on here.
Yeah, I love having y'all. And I know that you guys have been busy. Just give us a quick backdrop on what you guys are up to. So these guys practice what they preach. So they're out there teaching people how to become very wealthy, doing short-term rentals, but they're also out there implementing their own strategies, sometimes putting money on the table, which they've done here recently because of just tremendous success. And now they've got the confidence to actually come out of pocket, but they also do the arbitrage. They also do the partnership deals that we've talked about in previous videos. So quick state of the union for the Stead family in Canada.
Well, I got to tell you, 2021 has been a very interesting year. Of all the years I've been alive, this is probably the hardest year of work we have ever had. So just a quick synopsis. So at the current time this is being recorded, we're now at around 40 properties. We actually just signed another 28 unit deal that's in motion now. Mm-hmm. So that's going to take us into the mid 60s, early into 2022. We started acquiring properties. So I know most of our training is centered on rental arbitrage and partnerships and learning how to control properties, but not own them for the sake of generating income. Now we're actually starting to get not only into the ownership game, but we're now also getting into the renovation game too. So, a few of the deals.
Oh gosh, that's one of these deals.
So as you can notice, I have a little bit more gray hair.
Yeah, more stress lines.
Yeah, I'm sure you can see the gray in my beard. I'm going gray on my face just watching this video right now. This is happening live.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for kind of going to 2021 here, we've been doing this for over 3.5 years. We started in October 2018. It's been over 3 years now. And we started, with very little. Actually, we started in debt. When we started this, we started this with a line of credit, and coming to where we're at now, the cash flow, everything that's coming in from our properties that we control and we help manage has really, come all together to now that we can actually purchase. And that was always part of our long-term vision, is to get into units that we want to purchase and have that long-term vision of ownership. And that's where we're really excited and where we're really focusing even coming into 2022.
Yeah, and from like a transparent financial picture, so last year in 2020 for that fiscal, our business did around 1.1 million. So a pretty good year. Mm-hmm. In 2021, with the current fiscal that we're in, our run rate right now with our revenues, we're set to do about 2.5 million. So
you're going to double up year over year with the pandemic.
With the pandemic.
Yeah. That's right.
So let me hit pause on that. We're going to go ahead and drop a link to the last video below, which is why this is so explosive right now, guys, just with the mindset shift on people that are out there traveling, wanting to travel, finally traveling again. You know, these short-term rentals are really becoming the big thing as opposed to hotels for obvious reasons. So these guys are just crushing it year over year, double down from 1.1 to 2.2+ million during the greatest pandemic in the history of the world. Kudos to you guys on that. That's fantastic. So not to interject, keep going, please, Michael.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been like I said, it's been a very interesting year. And I mean, we don't share that to boast or brag by any means, because we know people have, you know, of all walks of life have experienced what's been going on the last 2 years very differently. But I mean, what we're also saying at the same time is that, you know, if there's any reservations around the opportunity that exists within the short-term rental industry, you know, we hope by you know, our own experience and the experience of our students that, you know, people have seen time and time again on, you know, the VIP financial channel, you know, we are doubling down on our business right now. Like we are acquiring, we are acquiring as many properties as we possibly can, because our prediction is that going into 2022, that is going to be the biggest year in short-term rentals that we have ever seen. And we can get into a lot of reasons why that is, but that's, you know, at a 50,000 foot view, that's, you know, what we've been working on for the better part of 2021 here.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we shared this offline, and I would love to share it with the audience. So I'm such a believer in what y'all are doing that, you know, I have a friend of mine that was interested in getting in short-term rentals. And so I sent her y'all's way a couple months ago, and she's just really getting started. She's ecstatic. I talked to her, told her I was going to be chatting with y'all today. She got her first booking. I think it was like 2 or 3 week long booking, like right out of the gate. She is just so jacked up. So on a personal level, just the service that you guys provide. And we hear, you know, behind the scenes about you guys, and it's all been tremendous, which is why we continue to bring you here on the channel. Guys, if you're watching at home, you've been on the fence. This is going to be a special episode. We're going to do a New Year's resolution promo. If you stick all the way to the end of the video, that we're excited to share with you. If you know you're already interested, go ahead and email BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. That's BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. These guys will reach out to you right away, talk about you know, how the program works and how they can get you started right away. So you talked briefly about this being the toughest year of your business or your professional life. What lessons did you learn? Most of the toughest lessons in business are learned the hard way. Can you guys kind of expound on that and share with the audience?
Certainly.
Oh yes. It's not always sunshine and butterflies as much as we love it. And, you know, we always wake up fresh, looking beautiful.
Yeah.
I woke up this way. Right? Yeah.
Let's preface what we mean by tough. I mean, the thing is, like, the reality is being an entrepreneur is not easy, right? Because like if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So when we say tough, I mean it from a few different perspectives. Like from where we're coming from, you know, being practitioners, coaches in the short-term rental industry, unlike a few other people in our industry, we are still actively involved in doing this business.
We're in the mud of it. We're actively running it, trying to find, you know, the best way to actually run a whole short-term rental portfolio and really make sure we're profitable, right? Because this is what we do full time, both of us, and we love it. We're in the mud of it, and this is exactly how we see ourselves going forward in the foreseeable future. And I think a big thing about this is, you know, we're always growing and changing. Like we don't always have it perfect. You know, there's certain things that don't work out, and you know, there's some big lessons we learned from 2021. Probably the biggest one we learned was not every deal is worth doing when we're getting into it.
Is the juice worth the squeeze, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have 5 lessons we want to share in today's video. But the first one, as Katrina mentioned, is not every deal is worth doing. So one of the things we learned, and, you know, as I mentioned earlier, like this bar none is the hardest year we have ever worked in our entire lives, partially because just the sheer amount of properties that we've been adding to our portfolio. So one of the things you learn as you get into this business is that not every deal you do is always going to work out, right? So in every business, this is true. Not every product you sell is going to be a home run. Not every service you launch is going to be a winner. Not everything you do is necessarily going to go as planned, right? But let's just talk about this more openly. So when we say not every deal is worth doing, some of the mistakes that we personally made is that sometimes, you know, we just kind of rushed to get a deal done without going through kind of our normal due diligence process.
What we actually do, right?
Kind of broke protocol on yourselves.
100%,
Totally.
100%. We'll readily admit that. So the thing we want to say about it is any deal you look to do, you always need to assess the commercial viability, or what I like to call the headache to income ratio. Because the thing is, like, if, as you said, the juice isn't worth the squeeze and you're getting a stroke every time you do, a certain deal, it's made it just not be worth the income or profit that comes out on the other side, right? So we always want to say, never do a deal just for the sake of doing a deal, even if you're brand new at doing this, because the biggest thing is when you're putting a deal together initially, you need to take the emotion out of it and just let the numbers speak for itself. So although these are lessons we've learned, mistakes we made, not following our process every single time, and sometimes letting emotion get in the way.
Just wanting to
I think that. I think that's important, just to interject here real fast. So, removing emotion, I always talk about in my real estate investment world, it's a widget to me. I don't care what it looks like for the most part. I'm not going to live in it for the most part. I know I can make money doing it. I can make it the right way. That, just detaching emotionally has served me very well. And that's kind of an acquired skill. Obviously, you guys are in the trenches doing it every day. And I think that's another thing important to share, is that there's so many gurus out there. There's so much white noise. Oh, I'm going to coach you doing this. I'm going to coach you doing that. I'm the expert. Most of these deals, most of these gurus, if you will, they haven't done deals in years. They're literally just aging on a stage somewhere, and most of what they even have to say, and I'm not naming names, but if they're watching, they know who they are just aging on the stage with material that's hardly relevant, especially with something like this asset investment class. So the fact that you guys are still doing the deals, you guys are in the trenches, you're able to speak from that direct experience because you're going through it every day the same way that they are. I think that there's nothing more powerful than that, than having that coach or that trainer in their camp that's out there grinding it out the same way, doing the same type of deals and sharing experience. So just wanted to touch on that real fast.
Yeah, and we really appreciate that. And I think part of it is, like, we are always changing and growing, even our program, right? Like, that's a big thing. And that's why we really gravitated toward coaching, because as good as courses are and everything like that, they can go stale, right? And for us, like, we need that one-on-one connection with people. Every situation is different for someone coming into this, and having that, direct support. Like, we really wanted to be coaches first to make sure we had that touch point with people and just made sure they had that direct path of where to go, because it's not one size fits all. And that's why it was really important for us to come into coaching with it. So we do really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So this leads us to our second lesson that we learned for 2021. And this kind of dovetails into what we just talked about in the first one, is that if you get into situations where, the headache to income ratio is not in balance, like, the deal is just not working the way you wanted it to. Lesson number 2 is you need to trim your losers and you need to let your winners run. Okay, that's kind of an analogy, it comes a lot from, different stock market trainings and stuff like that, but it fits very well within short-term rental context as well. So the thing is that the amount of properties we have right now, there's a concept I like called zero-based thinking. And it's like, basically the idea is this: knowing what you now know, would you have done what you have done to get to the point you're currently at? And if you have certain deals in your portfolio that are not working out the way you want, or not generating the amount of profit, or even just the mere fact of thinking about them is just causing you mental stress, just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them. They're not worth it. Because one of the important things as an entrepreneur is you need to protect your mindset, because this is very much a mental game. I would say probably 80+% of what we do on a day-to-day basis is it's really battling, the monster that's between your ears, right?
And I think that's a big shift even in our coaching, because we've been coaching for over 2.5 years. And when we started, it was just like the how-tos, go, do this and do that. And then really came down to, it's not just the how-tos, but the how-tos with your mindset. What are you focusing on? How are you treating your body? Like, it's an actual, like, full kind of balance in your life. It's not just, doing the how-tos. It's like, what's your mindset going into this, making sure you're protecting your energy. So that was
more intentional, how to be more intentional, with your time.
100%.
That's a good word.
I love that. Yeah. It's like, you're not just kind of running around with your head cut off, right? You want to be
Which
very
we've all been there, but yeah, that's, as an entrepreneur, you want to eliminate as many of those days as you can, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, coming into 2022, there are a few deals that we have coming up on lease or agreements that are about to expire. We will not be renewing them, and we will be giving notice to those people. I mean, we're going to be professional, cordial, but we're just going to say, look, this really didn't work out the way we expected. We can refer you to somebody else that, perhaps wants to take this on, but, this isn't, our business is going in a different direction. And we just leave it at that, right?
Yeah. And God willing, they get to that point where they're able to recognize and ultimately trim that fat. And, part of your coaching is obviously walking them through that, I would assume, and kind of giving them that guidance and breaking down the metrics. Look, this one, might be that kind of quote unquote loser, as we're building up and you're scaling out, those are going to be ones that you're going to recommend to your coaching students on being rid of.
Oh, 100%. And that's it's a skill, right? Is going out there, searching, being able to analyze that deal, because that skill set to do it, one, it is a process that you can rinse and repeat and just make sure you're actually picking out the winners in either market, in any market that you're going into. So it's really crucial when you're doing that. So for us, like point number 4 of like one of our biggest, point number 4.
Well, we haven't finished point number 3.
All right. So point number 3.
We didn't even touch on that.
This is the yin and yang.
Yeah.
So,
I know. That's why we bring you on, is just for this dialogue right here. Actually.
So Katrina mentioned it earlier, but we want to emphasize it again. The third biggest lesson that we learned in 2021 is that you need to protect your energy as an entrepreneur. So let me expand on that. So the thing is, if you turn on any major news outlet pretty much anywhere in the world, it's pretty negative.
It's pretty depressing,
right? Pretty depressing. And the thing is, if you pay too much attention to that, it's really hard to make decisions when you're coming from a place from fear, a place from scarcity, a place from lack. And the thing is, if you dial too much into that, you just really can't make the proper decisions. So one of the things we recommend to anyone, especially getting into short-term rentals, because a lot of people ask the question, well, gee, with COVID going on, with the pandemic, with the new variant coming out, hey,
oh my goodness, right? And it's like, guys, go on a social media diet. So social media news diet, like just like cleanse yourself away from that, free up some mental real estate to think clearly and just to have your own decisions, right? Be very careful who you listen to. And that's really important.
I love that advice.
Yeah. So this leads us to point number 4 now. Is one of the other biggest lessons we learned in 2021 is quality over quantity. Okay. Now, let me break that down, because you're probably thinking, well, wait, didn't we just talk about that? Didn't you just sign a 28? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So we always ask people this question: what would you rather have? Would you rather have one property that produces you $1 million a year, or 100 properties that produces you $1 million a year? Which one do you think is easier to manage? Which one do you think is easier to run?
Yeah.
Right. So the point is, and by the way, if anyone,
it's not a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
Right.
Not a trick question.
One of the biggest lessons we learned is that we are really being intentional about the different types of properties we personally want to take on, not even just from a management perspective, but ones we actually want to own.
Yeah. Like the amount of energy it takes just to manage one property, like a condo, like a 1-bed, 1-bath, it's the same as a big house, like a single family home, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's the same amount of energy in the setup and the managing part of it. So why not just take advantage of that and go for, the bigger houses or anything that has that income potential, right? So it's quality over quantity. So that's what we really, really want to focus on. And that's why we're trimming some of the quote unquote losers as well, and the fat out.
Yeah. And I don't think you guys are necessarily talking out of both sides of your mouth there. I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made for quantity versus quality, and also for quality versus quantity. I think anytime you can kind of gobble up, a nice share of the market with, a 10 or a 20 or a 30 multi-unit like that, then like you said, I mean, that was not a trick question. I would much rather deal with one person than 30 individuals on 30 subject properties. So, those deals are going to be out there. People are going to come across them. And again, you guys are just weighing those out with them, throughout the coaching, or even you guys doing them just personally. There's that kind of risk versus reward. Is the juice worth the squeeze? We can call it a number of different things, but nothing wrong with getting a bunch of properties, even if you're given kind of the deal a little bit of a haircut because you're getting that quantity, but quality obviously is much more preferred in most instances, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, let me give you an example. So a student came to us the other day, and they were still in the preliminary stages of the business, getting their business set up, going through some of the initial research, the analysis, and from the analysis they did, they came across an opportunity where, although the rent was, I would say, significantly higher than some of the other types of properties they were looking at, the profit potential on this particular property was very attractive.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff they were looking at, they first kind of started on smaller units, like little 1-2 bedroom condos. And again, nothing wrong with starting small. Let me just be clear on that, depending on where you're starting from. But this person, they had the means in order to get into higher scale opportunities right off the bat. So he came to us and said, look, I'm a little bit nervous, like, it's $4,500 a month to rent, but based on the analysis I've done, this property could potentially bring in like $12,000 to $14,000 a month. What do you think? Well, I said, well,
if you don't do that deal, I will.
Right. Are we still talking? Why are you not signing that deal right now? Yeah.
We said, you either do that or we are coming down there, we're taking it from you.
Yeah, because it's
right.
Run the numbers. And that's the thing, is just like, when you're looking at this, and sometimes, this kind of ties into our fifth point of, the biggest learnings, but it's like, what separates you from the hosting herd? Because, you can do a volume game 100%. A lot of people in our industry do the volume game. They change entire apartment complexes over short-term rentals. Awesome. I think that's really cool that you're in the volume game, but you're competing against the majority, because that's the lowest barrier of entry, is when you're looking at a 1 bed 1 bath or those apartment ones, right? So what's going to differentiate you? So that's what we mean, quality over quantity as well here. So it's like, what makes you different so that you don't have to compete to the rat race and getting down, it's kind of like the race to the bottom sometimes, right? Because you're not really offering anything different. And so you have to just compete against where everyone else is competing.
Well, and when you kind of operate in that kind of, I call it lowest common denominator space, it's a price war at that point. I mean, all you're doing is, shaving your prices down to make them more competitive than the last offer. And I never advocate selling on price. I think what something is worth, it's worth, right? Fair market value. So, to get deals, sometimes you do have to give it a little bit of a haircut, but you can go down a really dark, long path, if you just get into price wars with people. And it sounds like you guys have identified that. You're steering your students clear of that. And I love it. Just to begin with, just business 101, right? When you start fighting over price and you start selling on price, you lose.
Yeah, 100%. And this ties in really nicely to the fifth and final, I would say, biggest lesson for 2021. And this is going to be huge coming into 2022 because, 2022, we'll go on record, our prediction is it is going to be a record-breaking year for short-term rentals, hands down, because, again, a lot of people with concerns about COVID and the variant, blah, 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 blah. We know that's temporary.
Yeah.
There
is an end to this, even if we're going to be living to this, it cannot go on the way it's been going on, right? Like there's already different solutions and everyone is going to start crazy, right? They're stuck inside. They're so like, it's just insane seeing what's happening around the world with these lockdowns, right? Like this cannot go on forever. So 2022 is the year of, the biggest boom, and we're preparing ourselves. So you're saying you guys just signed 28 unit deal. I'm like, yes, we did, because we're getting prepared for this huge boom.
So because of that, and knowing, that's our thesis. Again, we don't ask anyone else to buy it. That's just what
our opinion and our prediction.
But because of that, and because there's going to be so much profit potential in the next year, that also means there's going to be a lot more competition coming in short-term rentals, like a lot more, right? So keeping that in mind, the fifth and final lesson we want to share is, in order to differentiate yourself, as Katrina mentioned, from the hosting herd, we like to call it, is you want to focus on creating unique experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something we've really seen in our own portfolio, because we did a bit of an analysis and we determined that the properties we were very intentional with, we were very focused on having that unique experience, whether it be with the design of the property, whether it be the property type, or even just, as Katrina mentioned, the overall design and feel of the space.
And the amenities is huge.
That has made a massive difference in our portfolio, massive difference.
Like literally their houses down the street, one's just nice modern design, nothing, it looks like everything else and similar to like a hotel. The other one down the street is like a French garden theme. It literally looked like you're stepping into—
the floor plan's the same.
It's the floor plan is the exact same. It's literally a cookie cutter home, but this one is like you're stepping into Paris, right?
Yeah.
And we did analysis. That one almost made double of income, which was incredible. Like we couldn't even believe it. It's the exact same. We can sleep the exact same amount of people. Everything. The only thing that's different is the design.
Yeah, no, I love that. And even throwing in amenities, I mean, things like a $5,000 hot tub, over time, obviously those can really add up. There's a ton of that. That's what you guys share with your folks when they come on to coaching. So I don't want to kind of steal the thunder. We'll kind of close with that here, but it's my understanding that you guys also have financing behind you for folks that want to get into, buying their own personal properties, whether to use as a long-term buy and hold for the short-term rental capacity. So you guys now have that. And I'm also excited to share that after Matthew actually did it and he beat up on me for the pink videos, he beat up on you guys for a New Year's resolution, kind of just phenomenal discount, kind of an offer, too good to be true almost for people that have been on the sidelines. Maybe it's been cost prohibitive. Maybe now they're finally looking to kind of change their financial future and their outlook and using short-term rentals as that vehicle to do that. You guys are now offering financing for that. So if you guys would kind of talk about the promotions that you guys are bringing, exclusively to the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel, we'd love to hear it. And I'm sure they would as well.
Yeah. And thank you for kind of, highlighting that about getting into this with, other people's money, right? Like OPM is a big thing. Of course, we're doing other OPP, other people's property, but it's a really good, connection.
That was a song.
Sounds like a boy band.
I'm confused.
But when we're looking at financing, I mean, even when we got into this, we used a line of credit, coming in and starting our own business a long time ago. And, just to get your foot in the door and just to, really start generating that cash flow, that's huge. And so for us, this is a really exciting opportunity that we now have a third party financing that's able to really help start someone off on the right foot to get into the coaching and also start their short-term rental business. So with that, I mean, really, if one of the biggest things you guys want to really work with us and start getting into it, but financing and funding is a huge thing. Talk to us about it because we do definitely have options getting into it.
Yeah. So as far as things we're releasing, so for the better part of the last 6 months, because we've been so busy at just growing our own short-term rental business, we basically closed off our one-on-one program. We were not doing one-on-one at all for the better part of 6 months. Okay. So coming into 2022, we're now actually opening up spots.
And just to hit pause, and your group coaching students are crushing it. So it hasn't been to their detriment.
No, 100%. Yeah. So we transitioned from one-on-one more to kind of a group masterclass, and we ran those groups for the last 6 months. The results of coming out of those groups are absolutely phenomenal. There's going to be some testimonials coming up, on that. But having said that, we still liked, we reflected on it. We still really liked having that one-on-one connection with our students. So,
and this is really important to us of, now coming into 2022 and really just opening ourselves up for a bit here, just to really start helping on the one-on-one coaching side of it. And this is just for people who want to go quicker, and it was just backed by demand, I guess you could say. A lot of people just
backed by popular demand. So
people wanting just to go quicker, people wanting to do what we're doing, like even purchasing ones or really just wanting that one-on-one support and that sounding board and just to go quicker. That's why we decided to open up our one-on-one coaching and to have that direct connection. We are still doing the masterclass because the masterclass is a really good way just to get in to the initial. If you're brand new into this, the masterclass is structured in a way that you have weekly calls on there, with us and our team as we go through it. And it's a lot more structured. And that's really good when you're just kickstarting into this.
Yeah. So we're still offering the masterclass as well. But for people that want one-on-one, the last time we did one-on-one coaching, it was available at $22K. Okay. But before going into 2022, we are discounting this down because we truly want to be able to help people to go quicker with this, that genuinely need the support. So we're discounting it down from 22 down to 18 because of the relationship that we have with VIP Financial. So it's 22 down to 18K. Flash deal, at the end of the year here, leading into 2022. So if you want something that's different than what you currently have and you've been sitting on the sidelines, we got you covered. We have options available for you to get financing if perhaps money was a barrier to get into this. And based on the testimonials and results that other students have generated, we definitely have your best interest in mind.
Yeah, and part of that, so with our one-on-one, because it is only us for the one that we're doing it, we only take on 5 students per month. So when we're looking at that,
limited to 5 for this series.
Limited to 5 for just the one-on-one.
Only 5.
Okay.
And because it's our time, and with our time, we are highly focused on whoever wants to come in on there. So we're giving the best support. It's really the highest level support of what you're going to get with that. So we only take on 5 students. And again, it's just the flash sale that we have for the new year coming in, that we have it from 22K down to the 18K. And we have the financing options to get into as well.
No, I love that. So just to be clear for the audience, I mean, guys, we're looking at almost a $4,000 discount. If you know that you want to move forward and you want direct connection, with Michael and Katrina, that one-on-one kind of white glove service, if you will, from a coaching perspective, it pays for itself, guys. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in the business model. There's not a business out there that you can make this amount of money for such a low barrier to entry. And obviously now with the financing options to help people pay for the coaching, there are going to be some credit qualifiers is my understanding with that. And they can effectively just pay that off over time, like an installment, like you would a credit card or, a car payment, if you will. You also have financing to go out and actually get them deals purchased if they want to have their own personally owned portfolio as well. That's exciting news. Let's talk about the group coaching because you guys gave a heck of a deal to our channel on that as well.
Yeah. So in addition to one-on-one, so let's just be clear too, with one-on-one, that client also gets access to the group as well. So again, that's why it's our highest level of support, but let's just kind of break down the difference between the two. With the group masterclass, so those programs, we've been running those every month for the last 6 months, and those run for 4 months. Okay, so that is a very structured environment. You get to work with one of our coaches underneath us. He's a former student, extremely successful at this business, and he's going to take you hand by hand and show you exactly step by step how to go get a short-term rental business up and going as quickly as humanly possible. So with that group, you have a weekly accountability call where you can come, ask your questions, get support, work through whatever particular issues are coming up. If you choose to do that, or if you come with one-on-one, you're going to get not only one-on-one access with us, but you're also going to get the group as well.
And part of it as well is you do get access to our online members area. That online members area, pre-recorded videos, it is direct. I like to say it's not a lot of fluff in there, just because it's like, what does it actually take to, put a listing online? It kind of is like behind the curtain, us going through videos of actually putting listings online, the strategies that we use, pretty much everything we use in our business, you have access to, and you have lifetime access to that. So it's going to be in conjunction with the weekly calls, you get the online videos, and then with the one-on-one, you would get access to us as well.
Got it. And the promo that we're running on the group coaching for our New Year's resolution through VIP, normally that is a $14,997. You guys are giving it a nice haircut. And guys, these offers are through until December 31st. So obviously this is time sensitive. $11,997. So effectively, you guys are shaving about $3,000 off the group coaching session as well. Obviously, anyone that would move forward with that, they're making an investment in the business model, investing in themselves, and those returns can happen very quickly. Who's this for, guys? I love to have this on the video. What are you guys seeing out there right now as far as coaching students? The most successful students are doing what? And the least successful students are doing what or not doing what?
Yeah, you brought up some good points there. So one of the key concepts we talk about very early on in training is this idea of speed of implementation. So the idea there is as soon as you hear a concept, you learn something, you go and apply it as quickly as humanly possible. So the most successful students we have, and there's a lot of them, like multiple people over the last year creating 6-figure incomes, leaving their jobs, retiring their spouses, you know,
creating cash flow to start other businesses. It's really incredible just to see this. And a big thing for us is like, big thing is like alignment. So, you know, we're here for you and you got to be there for us too. So what does that mean? You're showing up for the calls. We can hold you accountable. You know, we're going to help you support in a safe space, but we're definitely going to hold you accountable, because this is like, we poured our heart and soul into this. We want to make sure that you are too, and that you're taking it, you know, to the next level and you're ready to change. So are you coachable? Are you trainable? Are you willing to change as a person? Right. And just be held accountable in that. So it's really important that we have that alignment. If you aren't those, it's not going to be the program for you. It's not going to be some kind of get rich quick scheme. Yes, we're showing you the shortcuts, but as we show many of our students, the thing is, it's just like any other programs, like kind of like a health program. We can't do the push-ups for you. You have to be the one doing the work, and we're going to guide you into get the best direct way to get there, but you have to do the work. So we're willing to pull up your sleeves, take directions, and take action.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. Any type of business opportunity, particularly ones that we talk about here on the channel, you can't want it more than they want it for themselves, right? So you can, you know, the old proverbial lead the horse to water, you know, here's your roadmap. You can't force them to drink, whatever the case may be. I mean, we could go down that road forever. You guys lay out a successful blueprint. If they're coachable, they're trainable, they're willing to kind of be that sponge and just, and like you said, Michael, implement, right? So you can have all the knowledge between these 2 years, but if you're not into implementation, that's where it's going to stay, right? And what's up here, unless I'm using it and implementing it, doesn't make me a nickel. So, you know, what you're saying is absolutely spot on, guys. Again, just to reiterate, this is not the get rich quick. This is roll up your sleeves, do the work. And you can get rich, but it obviously requires some effort. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here today. I would love to have you guys back on here after the New Year's to kind of get that forecasting for 2022. Always appreciate your time. Guys, they are knocking it out of the park. If you love content from Michael and Katrina, you like the BNB Bootcamp, go ahead and smash that thumbs up link below. If you're not a subscriber already, we would certainly appreciate your new subscription. Always looking for like-minded people here on the channel. Guys, it does not hurt to at least reach out to them. That's going to be BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. See if it's a good fit. Take a look at their funding resources now that they did not have previously. So if you have discounted yourself in the past for monetary reasons, they may be able to solve that problem for you now. That being said, Michael and Katrina, if we don't talk again soon, y'all have a great holiday. Y'all just keep crushing it. We're always so proud to have you guys here on the channel. Love you on a personal level, and you guys are just bringing tremendous content to our folks. So much appreciated. Look forward to talking soon. Until next time, guys, keep tuning into the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel. We talk about things like credit. We talk about real estate, investments. If you're interested in stuff like that and some current events as well, we encourage you to tune back in. And until next time, take care and make it a great day.